All right, welcome to another Jags podcast. This is episode 106. We did 105 yesterday, but we're actually going to wait to put that out because it's about people that we think that we could draft. And tonight we're talking all about Ngakoue. And we're joined here tonight by some special people. First of all, Joey, who's kind of special, but in a different way.
We all know I'm special.
He's special in a different way. But we also have a special guest tonight. We have Skylar from the Trust the Process podcast. Skylar, how's it going?
I'm good. How's it going with y'all?
It's all Ngakoue tonight. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, Trust the Podcast. Tell us about what you guys do and everything.
So, yeah, I mean, Trust the Process is basically just a couple buddies. We got together. We decided we want to do something, talk about the Jags and local sports in general. So we tried to do that initially. We did like a YouTube channel type of deal. Kind of went away from that, did more of a podcast, just a little bit low maintenance, so makes it slightly easier for that. And yeah, we just highlight on local stuff, mainly the Jags. We're just really inconsistent. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it for that.
That's awesome, man.
Super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we love the camaraderie of mixing different people in podcasts. I mean, it's just we love doing it. We love hearing other people's things, and we get the fans involved, so it's all good. Where can they find you guys on Twitter or anything like that?
So, yeah, it's basically all Trust the Process, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and that's when we try to post like when we update and stuff. And then if you want to give us a listen, we can be found on iTunes and SoundCloud, and I believe a few others, but I'm not sure. You can follow us on Twitter and find out for sure exactly.
Awesome, cool. So y'all make sure to check them out. They're doing good stuff. I think they even told us they're doing a podcast tomorrow night, so they might have a fresh one out soon. Y'all can check it out for sure. You can follow us on Twitter. We're at Another Jags Pod. We're on Instagram at Another Jags Podcast. Joey, don't want to leave you out, man. How's it going with you?
It's going good, man. I appreciate you giving me a nod there.
I think that's all we want to hear from you. All right, so we're gonna move right into to the Yannick.
I had another comment. I mean, but okay.
No. We got Skylar here. We want to hear Skylar. Skylar's a big Jags fan. And a good golfer, by the way.
Yeah. I suppose. I mean, it's not hard to be good, I guess. It's.
Well, that's the understatement of the century right there.
All right.
It actually is really hard to be good.
Yeah.
Or consistently good.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of time, that's for sure, and I got plenty of that, I guess.
Would you say it helps to work at like a golf-centered place?
Yeah, working at Coastal Indoor Golf is perfect. It's got TrackMan technology, which is accessed by only the best golfers. And before I worked there, I had never broken a score of 100. I've only worked there for 2 years, and I'm consistently mid-80s or so,
which is solid.
Yeah, that's how great the technology is. That's how, if you put the effort and the attention and focus into it, it's pretty easy to understand.
Yeah, so make sure to check out Coastal. They're great people up there. Skylar will take care of you. Come in, ask for a golf lesson. He'll give you a free one. He promises. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it might be only 15 minutes, but then
that's a solid 15 minutes right there. All right, Skylar, big news today. Ngakoue tweets out, "Bye, Duval. Loved y'all. I'm out of here. I look forward to playing and doing my career somewhere else." Before we get to kind of what the Jags fans on Twitter have responded to us, we want to hear your opinion on the entire Ngakoue saga, how it started, how it ended. What are your feelings overall about the whole situation?
It's just a wacky situation. There's no way to describe it. I don't know how you let players this good get to this situation comes about in your relationship as a business partners, essentially, because you can see his talent. He's won us many games. I don't think we're probably not in the playoffs 2017 without Yannick. He creates a lot of turnovers that get returned for touchdowns. You can think of we beat Cleveland because of a Yannick Ngakoue forced fumble, and I think Dante Fowler also helped a little with that one. But those are just some game making plays that we desperately need, and it kind of looked like we had a young core going, and then we bring in a senile guy to try to handle a young core, and obviously it doesn't work with that. And I mean, we took care of one end, but you can't fix and resolve something that is just ashes at this point. It's already burned. So I mean, the whole situation with the Jaguars is much like yawn. It's just tiring. I just want to yawn the whole time.
I like that.
Nice.
That's a good pun.
I like that.
That's good. That's true. I mean, I think a lot of fans feel your sentiment there for sure with the front office being frustrated with them. And we'll see that in our poll we ran. But before we get to the poll, Joey, give us your thoughts on the Ngakoue situation.
I mean, it's typical Jaguars front office. I mean, we screwed the pooch again. We catered to Jalen. Everybody thought we'd have to pay Jalen, so we didn't pay Jan last year. And Jalen did what he did, demanded out, and Jan's pissed because, and rightfully so. I mean, he's the guy you want on a football team. The guy shows up. He works his butt off. He always shows up in shape. He's a good locker room guy. He'll yank somebody up when they're not playing well and get in a fight with them in the locker room for the right reasons. And I wouldn't want to play here either at that point. I would take less money to go somewhere else if I was Jan.
I think that makes sense. I mean, I think with Ngakoue, you're looking at a player who has watched a lot of his teammates retire, ask for trades. It's been a weird kind of group that's been here in Jacksonville. Not that they're not talented. It's just strange, kind of like you were saying earlier, Skylar. But look, I've been saying this for months and even years. Ngakoue really doesn't have a desire to sign here in Jacksonville. I think what he did was, and I know I'm in the minority here, and I know everyone loves Yannick Ngakoue, but the dude priced himself out of Jacksonville intentionally. He basically said, look, you're going to pay me $22 million a year, make me the highest paid D-end in the league by a lot, or I'm going to go somewhere I want to go. And that's an ultimatum that Ngakoue can do and has the ability to exercise, and I think he's going to. And unfortunately, I don't think he's worth $22 million a year. I really don't.
No, he's definitely not. There's not a question about it. His numbers are not that good, just from a pass rushing standpoint, and he doesn't stop the run.
Well, I think pass rushing, it's hard to ignore his numbers, but against the run, I mean, we'll get to that in a second. I mean,
sure.
we got some numbers that'll back it up. Let's get to what they say on Twitter, and I want to hear, Skylar, I want to hear your responses to this. So we asked on Twitter, what are your initial feelings toward the Ngakoue news? We said good riddance to Ngakoue. We said Jags front office screws up again. We said Yannick's asking for too much money. And we said reset coaches and roster. And basically 64%, which is a really high number, said that the Jags front office screwed up again. So, Skylar, you kind of alluded to that earlier, but would you agree that the Jags front office screwed up once again?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. It's part of Jaguars history now. They can't seem to make a single right move. You can go back to, I think it was 2011 when we drafted Blaine Gabbert. That was totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Gene Smith had some crazy picks. He picked some small school guys because they got more heart, more determination, I guess. And that didn't pan out. And then we get to a point to where we finally have talented players developed on our team through the draft, and not a single one wants to stay because we're signing guys like Blake Bortles and I'm drawing blank on other players that we shouldn't have. Oh, Taven Bryant, for example. We should not have.
Bryant. Re-signing Gus Bradley to a year extension. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Thomas in the free agent market as a tight end. I mean, throw money at that guy.
That move. I mean, we all would have made that move, though. I mean,
but I think that brings up another point, which I just brought up, is that we seem to want to go after guys in the free agency market and throw them a boatload of money versus paying our homegrown guys.
And a lot of people say that. A lot of people say you got to take care of your own guys. You got to take care of your own. I mean, to a point, you have to be fiscally responsible with your cap room. I mean, you can't just go around and re-signing. Look, Ngakoue may not be the best D-end on his own team. He was rated by PFF as the 26th best free agent this year.
He's actually 32nd in sacks.
I mean, the dude's good, and we love him because we drafted him in the third round. He's a good story. But I'm telling you, he's not $22 million good. You know who's $22 million good? Probably Josh Allen. Josh Allen is probably $22 million good. That dude gets after it on the run and the pass. The motor never stops with him. I've seen Ngakoue take plays off. Is he human? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure all people do. But it's not like he's out there giving you the heart like Calais Campbell does at 18.5 per year.
So what they're going to do, they're going to they franchise them, and they're going to put them on the trade block. And if they get any players, great. They're going to get draft picks for them, and we're going to draft an edge rusher with the second pick.
All right, we had two people on Twitter, Grayson Finley, and he's at GrayFin3, and a couple other people basically said tag and trade the guy. So, Joey, you said tag and trade. Realistically, what are you getting back for Ngakoue?
I mean,
tag
honestly,
and
I
trade?
don't think we're getting players, which a lot of people want. I mean, I think they want to get something for this year for him. Dude, everybody needs to commit to the fact that this coming year is going to suck. Whatever happens, happens. If we win some
I don't
games,
know.
great. Okay.
I don't
I'm
know
going to
about
say that. I'm going into this coming season with the optimistic attitude of if anything good happens, I'm good with it. But, dude, we can get second-round pick. We can easily take, what's his name, Matos from Penn State.
Maybe if you turn the brightness up on your phone.
I know,
you
I
can
can't see it. It, like,
these
turned
people's
off.
names. Yeah, there you go.
Matos from Penn
Yeah,
State.
yeah.
And he every draft or pre-draft has got him, the mocks all have him in the 18 to like 25 range, and the dude's a stud. Bring him in, you're paying him, you know what, half the money, quarter the money?
Yeah. I don't know.
Would you trade up for Simmons?
I would absolutely would. I think Isaiah Simmons is the best player in this draft. I would trade up for him. But before we get to Isaiah Simmons, because I could go on and on about Isaiah Simmons, that dude's a beast.
Yeah.
Okay, if you watch his combine, he's drawing comps to like Derwin James and like running backs at the same
What
time.
do you want, 4, like 3.9?
Yeah, the dude's a beast.
I mean,
but
come on.
Skylar, okay, because this tag and trade seems to be the most popular opinion. I mean, you hear it all over the radio, you hear it all over Twitter. Tag and trade. Yes, that makes sense. Ideally, you could tag and trade. You look at a guy like Frank Clark, who that happened with him last year. What do you see us realistically getting in a tag and trade deal for Ngakoue?
Just like Joey said, picks probably.
Yeah, picks like
and
specifically. Like,
value.
what picks would you be happy with? What picks do you realistically see us getting in return for Ngakoue?
I think you can maybe stretch and get like a second or so. I don't know if you get multiple picks. You maybe pick some money or something like that. Yeah, I don't.
Do you really see us getting a second for a guy who literally is in the last year of his deal? Like he's on a franchise tag.
That's the problem. With how much he's asking, I think that's definitely where teams are going to waver. I don't know if we realistically get the value that he also sees in himself. I don't think we get the value that he probably is for another team too. That's just the game they play with that aspect of it. But I think, just getting some picks out of it just kind of lightens the situation up, makes it a little easier for us.
I think given this front office's history of actually getting more in return for trades than they are supposed to, I could see this
team
team
good with that.
I could see this team realistically getting a third, maybe a third and a fourth.
Like this year?
Yeah, maybe this year third and next year. No, maybe this year fourth, next year third. Something like that. It's going to because maybe 2/3. Look, if they get a second for this, they deserve to stay on forever. Getting 2 firsts for Ramsey and a second for a guy who is in the last year of his deal and is proven to may not be the best deal. I mean, on his team, like I don't know. I mean, I don't see us getting a lot for him on the market. You can franchise tag him. I mean, isn't there like a transition tag where they can sign the guy and then
nobody
they
uses that, man.
You can though.
I mean,
You
it is
can.
there,
Yeah,
but-
I mean, the transition tag is where you let you let other teams make an offer, and then you can make that same offer. And if the player declines it, then you get compensation. So it ends up being like a better deal for the team. And the guys in the front office are smart. They're smart guys that are going to look into the transition tag.
I heard a great quote earlier that said, "Don't mistake the best player at a position on your team for the best player in the league at that position." And I think that's where we're at with Jan because everybody likes him. He's a stand-up guy. He works hard. He's made some great plays for us that we appreciate. But he's not the best player at that position in the league. He's not even close.
All right, so Skylar, tell us what you're thinking right now. So it was a little premature for Ngakoue to say this because he's still got a lot of time that things could happen. If the Jags come back and offer him $22.5 million per year to try to keep him,
Should they do that?
Yeah, should they?
I mean, I don't think they should. I think they should offer what they feel is right. And like you said, I said this a couple weeks ago that maybe he should be the highest paid, but my thought process with that was the game making plays that he does have with the forced fumbles and such. You kind of struggle. Like turnovers is a big part of winning games.
absolutely,
And he's definitely one of the best at doing that.
that's true.
And when with our back end not necessarily solidified, getting to the quarterback even quicker is much better. And if you have Yannick Ngakoue with Josh Allen together, And then potentially with the draft pick of Brown from Auburn, you could have a really scary defensive line as well. And it's just, if you can have that this year, you can see good things happen this season. But it's hard to say if he's worth that value or if his value to the team is worth that much.
Okay, so before we move on to our next question, let us know right now. 22.5. Are you paying Jan 22.5?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I would. Because,
Okay.
The money's, there's going to be more and more money coming through the league.
Yeah.
Next year, he's not going to be the highest paid, and he's going to want more in 5+ years or whatever. And the value is just going to keep going up and up for players all across the league. We're going to start seeing more athletic defensive ends coming across, more athletic than Yannick Ngakoue. So maybe in the future he's not worth it, but maybe this year he might be. And if that goes to a playoff run or something, I think then definitely it was worth it. I don't, obviously if he's gone, we're not in the playoffs at all. I don't think it's a good season at all. I mean, it's might have some up and downs. It'll be fun to watch Gardner play.
Yeah.
Josh Allen wreak havoc. But I think if you get that defensive line to where it could be, like with just those three guys, and then even have Calais maybe still there, or Darius, one of those guys, it could be an interesting and fun defensive line to watch, and then that kind of frees up the back end. You don't worry so much about Boyer and Herndon back there and who's playing safety. So
He just mentioned playoffs, man. I like Skylar already.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, playoffs. Look, I'm a big playoff guy. I love going to playoffs.
So what about this, Jason? Because I'll throw this to you.
Yeah.
I don't think he's willing to stay here, so I don't think it matters.
I don't
what we
think he wants
offer
to be
him.
here.
So I'm gonna throw that out there.
I think if we give him $22.5 million, he stays because
I don't think he does.
I think he does.
I don't think he
because
does.
his agent's looking at him going, "You're an idiot if you do not make." I mean, at $22 million, he's resetting the market on DNs.
He fired his agent.
That's what I'm saying. Whoever's agent is now.
So point being, but let me throw this to you then. So say the Jaguars want to pay him 19 and a half, 20, whatever.
He won't. He won't stay for that.
I agree, but what really is the difference between that and 22 or 23?
Because you have to be responsible with your money. And 23,
That's $3 million.
Look, listen, 18 to 23 over 1 year, not that big of a deal. But we're talking about a multi-year deal, 4 or 5 year deal. Now we're talking about $50 million, and that's the type of money that you have to reserve to pay a
$3 million
linebacker
over
or
5
like
years is 15.
You have to be. You can't. There's a salary cap. You can't just spend money. We've been in
CBA
salary
is going
cap
to come
hell.
in and jack the salary
Look,
cap up.
I agree, but you're gonna look.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I
think you'd offer him $30 million a year, and he's not going to stay.
He's not worth it to me.
Okay, fair
Look,
enough.
2017, he had a great year, and the 2017 Yannick Ngakoue is probably worth $22.5 million. But we haven't seen that Ngakoue in 2
He
years.
had 8 sacks last year.
And that was coming off an injury.
And the team was playing
No,
from
good
behind.
point. Very good point,
And the
Skylar.
team's playing from behind. So I mean,
But we're going to be playing behind every game next year.
Well, with Gardner, we're staying games.
Yeah, exactly.
With Foles
Exactly.
going to
In
be
Gardner,
gone.
we trust. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, to sum up my point, Kev Click, and he's at KClick_6. Me and him are kind of on the same thoughts here. He said,
Imagine that.
yeah, he said he's not worth $23 million a year. I'm sorry, he's got to go. I loved him, but we needed to tag him and get at least a 3rd round pick for him. That's me. Me and K Click are on the same board there.
I agree 1,000%. I'm just saying, I don't think he stays no matter how much money we offer him anyway. So
Kind of like an Allen Robinson
exactly
situation.
like
That's
Allen
different.
Robinson.
I just had a text thread about Allen Robinson. It's different. Allen Robinson didn't want to be here because of Blake Bortles. Yannick Ngakoue doesn't want to be here because he doesn't like the city of Jacksonville. He wants to be in a big
I think
market.
he does like the city of
He saw
Jacksonville.
Jalen go to L.A. He saw Fowler go to L.A.
Well, is that why you spend more on the players here to make it more desirable to come to Jacksonville?
I disagree.
You do spend more money on players, but you have to do it in a smart way. And the way we did it with Campbell was the smart way. You paid him a little bit more, and do you see Ngakoue playing up to the contract level the way Campbell did his?
No.
I don't either. And that's the thing. Like, Campbell played amazing in 2017 and even better in 2018. He was all pro in 2 positions. That's unheard of.
He's gonna be in the ring of Jaguars after 4 years.
He still barely played up to his contract of whatever it was, 16 and a half, 18, whatever. Can you imagine Jan, the pressure that was on him this year, him wanting a contract, and he didn't even have it. So it's just, I don't know.
Dude, I have to argue with the point that you made. I don't think Jan doesn't want to be in Jacksonville. I think Jan is butthurt over the fact that he gave this team and city everything that he had and didn't get the respect that he deserved last year.
Yeah, I can see that too. Like, there's there's a lack of respect definitely from the fact that they put Jalen ahead of him, kinda, and then Jalen wasn't gonna stay. He has the primetime attitude. Primetime win everywhere to make his money and win everywhere. That's exactly who Jalen's idol was. He's gonna follow in his footsteps. But in terms of Yannick, he grinded. He wanted to make a name for himself. It was a big deal to him that he was drafted in the third round.
Yeah, we gave him a shot, man. I mean, he's got to appreciate that somewhat. I don't think it's the fans or the city. I think it's the fact that he feels disrespected after the amount of hard work that he put in, and I can understand that.
Okay, that's fair. All right, let's move on to this next comment. This is from Patrick Jackson, our dog PJ. And he's at _Johansson. He said about the whole situation, he said he's bored of it all now. Get him gone and move on. It's crap for both parties to have a player on the roster who doesn't want to be here. Then learn from the damn lessons and stop falling out with key players. Treat key talent properly.
Dude, can you say it any better?
Oh, that was pretty good.
I mean, nailed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Josh, and he's at J Prowell, says front office screwing up for not signing him last year. He wants too much, so it's 50-50 split.
Yeah.
You think you get him for less last year?
I don't think so.
No, I don't. But I think if we gave him that money last year, he'd be here for the long term.
Yeah, probably. But, I mean, you didn't have the highest paid DN in history on your roster, and he would be underperforming that contract last year. And then we'd all be pissed that we paid a guy.
Nick Foles really underperformed.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say Nick Foles.
So the second underperformer on the team.
Worst underperformer on the
Great
team.
point, Skylar.
Yeah, that's a good point. Bobby, he's at Bobby _Dunlop 87, says no comment.
I think that's what makes going back to that Foles thing. I think that's what makes players even more frustrated. Foles got $88 million off of one playoff run.
A Super Bowl, though.
Yeah.
Let's not just call it a playoff run.
Bortles
had a playoff run.
Yeah.
Foles had a Super Bowl.
And a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, but if you look at his team with the receivers he had, the offensive line, there is no way he was going to emulate that here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but anyone could have told you that.
Yeah, well, the players said that to Tom Coughlin, and everyone said, hey, pay us instead. We're the talent. We're the ones that got you through 2017.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that's a good point. Maybe the players are just pissed that they brought in Foles and he's getting a buttload of money, and then Ngakoue's making $800,000 a year and leading the team. Maybe. I would be pissed too.
He made $2 million this year.
And you look at guys like Telvin. We paid Telvin, and a guy like Jalen Ramsey. We wanted to pay him. It wasn't like we left everyone out to dry.
Yeah, Telvin was a great call too. He buys a lot of weed with that.
That's true. He does. Well, his buddies do. All right. Well, before we move on, I mean, that's a great transition to our break. Hopefully, we have like a CBD sponsor or something. Who knows?
Well, we have CBD at Coastal Indoor Golf.
Bam! CBD golf balls. When you hit the golf ball, it rolls more.
Great segue.
No, but we're going to take a quick break to get a word from our sponsors. Hang tight. If you're on the YouTube video watching us, we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be right back. Support our sponsors, man. If it's not for them, we wouldn't be here, and we really, really appreciate that they're here. So support them, hang tight, and we'll be right back on the other side with Skylar and more Yannick and Ngakoue talk. All right, welcome back to another Jags podcast. This is episode 106, I think. I'm kind of guessing there. We're kind of going out of order with some podcasts, but make sure to follow us on Twitter. We're at Another Jags Pod. Instagram, Another Jags Podcast. YouTube, you can check out Joey, Skylar, and myself live in our studio, which includes a JJ Redick jersey and a Matt Jones jersey.
It's worth it because Skylar's beard is the most impressive
point.
thing about
Yeah.
this podcast tonight.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I have to say.
Appreciate it.
Skylar's got the beard almost to James Harden level. Almost to James Harden level.
I think
Yeah.
right on there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Can you hit a free throw?
Yeah, I can.
All right. You're on point there.
I think what you're missing is some beard butter or something. You
Well,
know? You know?
Yeah, I really don't maintain it. I'm going for a homeless look right now.
The homeless look is in. The homeless look is in.
It
So,
really is.
You know, if you head out,
it costs a lot of money to do the homeless look if you're not homeless.
Well, it costs a lot of money to maintain like hair products too. I don't have to buy
Absolutely.
anything.
Yeah,
I don't-
got money for
I
that.
also lost the charger to my clipper, so that explains why this is here as well. I'm
Yeah,
not.
that's a good as reason as any, to be honest, for
Yeah.
sure. So we were talking to Yannick Ngakoue tonight, and frankly, we're all sick of talking about Ngakoue. Here in Jacksonville, that's all the local media has talked about. We know that everyone that listens to this is not from Jacksonville, so you haven't, but still the ESPN pundits have talked about it. Schefter's reporting things, and then Bleacher Report's reporting things, and then we're getting reports about Foles being shopped for draft picks, and which is absolutely insane. And I want to get to the Foles thing here in a minute, but I do want to hit these last couple of Twitter comments and just to get y'all's opinion on them. This one's from Noah Bennett, and he's at the Noah Bennett, and he said he can't be mad at Jan for wanting out. Yeah, he says he wishes it wasn't the case, but the front office screwed this one up. Tag and trade is honestly what's best for both sides. Going to be saving some money for other players too. So, Skylar, let me ask you this, and it's kind of on the spot and didn't really prep you this at all, but with the money that we're saving with Ngakoue, where would you like to see that money allocated?
Well, I guess I would just want better linebackers. So it's invest in that and maybe invest in the offensive line too. So that way Gardner's not running around scrambling, looking like a chicken with his head cut off. But they need to invest in the spots that are needed. They seem to try to plug and play a lot. I mean, as of recent, it seems like that, especially with the Foles thing. They just kind of threw a bunch of money his way, and I think that's where players were probably upset too. Is like they could have use that money much more wisely. That money could have been spread out across multiple players instead of just one player that everyone knew was not going to have a positive impact on this team. Like maybe his Bible scriptures. I mean, not knocking that, but like,
If you're Tom Coughlin, that's the guy Tom Coughlin wants.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which was a terrible decision, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, and the players, they clamored for Lamar Jackson to be drafted, and
Oh, dude, that's a sore spot.
yeah.
That is, we did a live show for the last couple of drafts. We've done live shows, and that year, I mean, we were all pretty much on board with the Lamar Jackson. I mean, but everybody was. I mean, he was a dynamic.
Everybody
player.
was. He
That's
went
what-
32nd.
Well, yeah, not everybody, but I mean, they traded back in, which was nice. But so you're saying linebackers and O line.
Yeah. I think I'm comfortable with I'm comfortable with Josh Allen. You're gonna get a cheap rookie at defensive tackle. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really kept up with any linebacker free agents, or I know we're gonna need some cornerbacks. But I think the market for that is also too high. The Panthers cornerback, was it Bradbury or something?
Yeah, Bradbury. Yeah,
I think he was asking for quite a bit in the market this year, and someone said it was, it's better off keeping Boye.
right. I think what he was asking was comparable to Boye.
Yeah.
What we're paying him.
And so you're not going to really, I don't know if you can really improve that much in that aspect. So it's hard to tell just from how much they have to figure out how to free up a lot of their money right now first. They're just handcuffed. And I think offensive line's probably number one in terms of investment. You can really build that up, and that can solidify something, but it's not sexy. It's not exciting, but
Absolutely.
It's smarter than tossing money to one person.
Yeah, and I want to get to O-line too later because I have some questions for you on that for sure because I love the O-line for sure. But let's get your thoughts on this one. And this is from Douglas Pelsey, and he's at teal tinted glasses. But the word tinted has no vowels. So if you're going to search him up and attack him for this comment,
It's almost like a license plate.
make sure that you know how to spell it there. But he says about Ngakoue, it's hard to say without knowing the discussion behind closed doors. If they didn't offer $22 million a year, they should have. If Jan just didn't want to be a Jag and was asking for $25 million or more to change his mind, then I can understand the tag and trade route. That's kind of what we talked about in segment 1.
Do you think the Jags are that classy? Like that if we did offer him 22.5, 23 million and he declined, that we wouldn't come out and say, hey, we offered him this, but he doesn't want
I
to be
don't
here.
think the Jags offered him $22 million.
I don't think so either. That's what I'm saying. Like I think if they had, they would have been like, hey, we did our best. Here's what we offered. Sorry about your luck.
He's in a terrible position because Campbell is making 16.5 and playing out of his mind, earning 16.5. Kind of sets the market for what a guy like that makes. And you have Josh Allen, who plays your position on a rookie deal.
Making what?
He's in the worst possible position to be doing this. He really, really is.
Because if you had to pick, you'd pick those two over him.
Absolutely.
Right? Like 10 out of 10 times.
Well, I mean, me anyways, but
me
that's
too.
just me. I think that's pretty much it for. Oh, there's one more comment. So this is from Mike Wilbraham, and he's at Yorkshire Jags. He said he's a bit gutted. He's never seen quality players leave, and he never likes seeing quality players leave. And ultimately, the team will continue, and it's not poisoned of need. If they use the cap saving wisely, that's a big if for this front office. So he's saying basically this could be a positive. So, Skylar, here's the question. Because you're visiting here on the podcast. We love it. You're welcome anytime. Come through.
I would like to preface this by he said a bit gutted, which again means he's an English fan.
Right.
So, there you
Again, another one of our UK fans.
I kind of guessed that with the Yorkshire.
That helps
I'm telling
too.
you, man.
Yeah.
Look, we love our UK fans. Look, they get an extra game. It's up to them now to support for us.
Yeah,
So,
it's our viability that is on your hands.
absolutely. They're our surrogates as fans for 2 games.
It's a serious valid point.
But the thing is we got fans. We got, Wilbraham, P-Jack. These guys are going to carry the torch. I mean, these guys are there. These guys are doing it. But we'll wrap up. I want to talk a little Foles. I want to talk a little O-line. We'll wrap up Ngakoue with this, and I'll ask both of you. I'll start with Skylar. Is there any positive that could come from this situation?
I mean, have you seen the Jaguars have this much publicity? There's no such thing as bad press.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
no, I mean, I don't know. That's the only good, I guess. It's just the publicity.
That's a weak positive reach right
Yeah.
there. I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the short answer, no.
Long answer, PR.
Yeah. So I mean, with everything going on, you got the London games, you got Foles still happening, you got the Yannick situation, and I think everyone's still heard about Ramsey, and you still got a bad taste about Bortles in your mouth. It's lingering every year. It's just I don't know when it will stop. I don't know when we'll have a true turnaround where it looks positive from season 1 to season 3. After 2017, I think everyone obviously was optimistic, and then it's just they tried to do more with less, and they tried to get cute in so many different areas, and I think it backfired a lot. So this is just they're just having to take their own poison now at this point, and I don't know. It's hard to. It's just a weird feel. It does feel kind of like we're being major leagued in a way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of scary too.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, with the 2 London games, and then I don't know if y'all saw, but the new CBA that's being proposed, there's a max of 10 games in London. So they could have half whatever, but I think obviously that's the local fans' biggest fear is losing more and more games, ultimately losing the whole team. And,
Right.
I think just seeing players that are good, you can see it, and just leave, not want anything to do with the team. It's just kind of disheartening and such. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think these are all good points. Joey, what do you got? Anything positive?
Yeah, I mean, the positive is if he hauls butt, I mean, it's one of 2 scenarios. Either we're going to get some draft picks next year, because I don't think we're getting jack this year that's going to be worth it, or somebody picks up his whole salary and we can go get Hoopa.
You're still stuck on this Austin Hooper thing,
Dude, we got to have a tight end, man.
Yeah,
if we don't draft a good tight end sometime in the next 3 years, Swear to you, I'm not going
I
to be a
was
Jags fan
thinking
anymore.
tight end too. I forgot to mention that, but I mean, even how they treated Mercedes Lewis.
Exactly.
That was so
He should still be on the
disrespectful.
roster. I mean, that frees up cap space, and it wouldn't even take all that cap space if somebody takes this whole contract with their draft picks. I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to trade him off. We're going to pick up part of his salary, and we're going to get picks next year.
Yeah, I think that's probably realistic there, Joey. Honestly, I'm with the Jags front office on this move. I don't agree with a lot of what they do. I'm with them on this. I've been with them on this since day one. As soon as Ngakoue started asking for money and making these cryptic tweets and then saying he's a team player going to be at every training camp and then not showing up to training, ever since all that went down, and honestly, ever since we drafted Josh Allen and I saw that dude on the field, I said, you know what, Ngakoue, you're not even worth what Calais Campbell is worth. I understand you're young, and I understand you stripped the ball out of the quarterback's hands, but there's a salary cap, and you can't just go out and make every player on your team the highest paid player, because Jags fans wanted to make Jalen Ramsey the highest paid player. They wanted to make Ngakoue the highest paid player. They were happy with paying Telvin $50 million. There's always so much money to go around. Like, you're going to end up like the Rams with a tiny window of 1 year, and then you're in salary cap hell.
Wait a minute. The Rams don't have a salary cap.
Everyone has a salary cap. So, look, I'm cool with it. We've lost some big-time players. I get it. Jags
Everybody
fans are
loses
mad.
big-time
I get
players,
it.
though.
And players come and go, man. Players come and go. So, I get it. Time will tell on whether this decision works out for the best or it doesn't.
That's a great segue into Nick Foles, though, since you're talking about like throwing money at people.
I wanted to throw Skylar a quick question, too, a little debate that we've had over the years.
Fair
I wanted
enough.
to see his thoughts on it.
Catch
If
it.
this has anything to do
Yeah.
with Fowler,
Nope.
all right.
We're not doing Fowler. At one point, Skylar, we thought about renaming our podcast another Dante Fowler podcast with the amount of Dante Fowler talk that
We
was
argued about
on
him for like
this
12
podcast.
straight episodes.
We had the Ngakoue versus Fowler debate for years. Not really years, but you know what I mean. But we've had another debate, and I'll admit I'm in the minority on this side. Do you think Mercedes Lewis, and I bring this up because we talked about Mercedes, does Mercedes Lewis deserve to be in the Ring of Honor? The pride, the Jaguars ring of pride, the honor.
You're so trying to get somebody on your side of the fence.
Does he belong
Really?
in the ring?
Really?
Skylar, give us your thoughts.
I'm not to say no.
Just give Skylar a high five, by the way, for everybody not watching.
Do you guys know? Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
You can't put someone up there for being the best run blocking tight end in the history of the team. I mean, if he goes up, Kyle Brady has every right to be up there.
Agreed. He actually caught some balls, other than like 1 year.
I'll let you finish. I'll let you completely finish your thought before I completely change your mind on the thing. So go ahead. Is that it? Is that all you have? I mean, I understand it's a weird question, but
Such a weird question.
the dude has Jaguar records
Only because he
for
played
games
for like
played
37 years
for
with the Jaguars.
Look, this isn't the NFL Hall of Fame. If this is the NFL Hall of Fame, then no, he does not deserve to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Does he deserve to be in the Jaguars Ring of Honor? The dude was the only bright spot for over a decade on this team.
So you're saying he
was
had this-
never injured. He played in every single game. He has all kind of records. We haven't had a tight end like him ever. Kyle Brady, I love Kyle Brady. I know Kyle Brady personally. He's a great man.
He is.
Mercedes Lewis did way more for the franchise than Kyle Brady ever did. Okay? The dude deserves to be up there.
So he had the same impact as Fred Taylor, Jimmy Smith, Mark Brunell, and Tony Baselli.
You're saying impact like stats wise.
I'm saying impact,
I'm saying
period.
impact as a Jaguar. The dude, who is in the ring from 2005 to now?
Nobody, because
One
they all
player.
sucked.
One player. You're telling me there's not one player that deserved to be in the ring since then?
If anything,
yeah,
it's Jones Drew.
exactly.
And I agree.
That's
But
the only one.
But that's
That's one.
That's only one.
There can't be one player in that
David
whole.
Garrard.
He doesn't belong,
No.
and I love Garrard. He
What
doesn't
about
belong.
our
No, I know.
defensive back?
Rasheed Mathis?
Mathis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Him and Mercedes Lewis are neck
No
and neck.
way.
I
Dude.
know
Mathis is like
had-
way
Yeah.
up here.
I know. Look,
Mathis is further up. He's from Jacksonville. He made more big plays. We had more playoff runs with
Dude,
him.
I love Mercedes. Great dude. Diehard Jag. Solid as heck. But he was never the guy he was drafted to be.
I'll never forget when he was playing against the Texans and a ball hit him right in the hands and he dropped it. That was, I think, 2011,
okay.
2010.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just want to end this with one question.
He did start this off by saying he was the minority.
Do you think his
One
middle
question.
name's Benz? Marseille or
It's not. One question. if you were drafting a player in the first round and I presented Mercedes Lewis's entire NFL career, the longevity, the snaps played, never being injured, consistency, never complain, never contract holdout. If I presented that to you, would you draft him in the first round?
15 years ago, yes.
I mean, yeah, that's when he was drafted, right?
Today-
That's what I'm saying.
No.
If I told you he was going to be in the league for 15 years, a solid tight end for 15 years.
Nothing wrong with that. But today, tight end is a completely different position.
It's a more athletic position
Absolutely.
now. So I mean, you have so many tight ends that can play at the wide receiver position, but I think that's where you start to see the run game get depleted because so many tight ends aren't capable of doing what Mercedes was and is capable of doing in terms of run blocking, and that part of football is forgotten. I mean, that's how football got its start, is running the ball and blocking and being really gritty with it. So I mean, I get the respect for him, and I wanted a Mercedes Lewis jersey when he was on the team. I just didn't get one because I didn't have the funds. But to put him in the pride, I don't know. I don't know if I see it. The impact for the Jags may have been positive, but I don't know if you put anyone, like I said, or like Joey and I both said, like Jones-Drew is probably the only one that goes up there just because he was just so impactful every time he touched the ball. Mercedes, he was very impactful, but he also there's games where he was non-existent. Maurice Jones-Drew, you knew where he was at every game he played. You knew what he was going to do. He got a little rusty towards the end, but he just still was so much more impactful with the ball and just incredible player. So
He put the team on his back, MJD did. I mean, Mercedes never
Yeah.
put the team on his back. And you talk about Rusty at the end. I mean, that's kind of a good mirror to what's going on right now. I mean, he got franchised too, right?
Who?
MJD.
Yeah.
His last year because
Yeah.
he wanted to get paid. And
Yeah, he was
didn't,
injured and things like
hauled
that.
butt.
Yeah. All right, well, you're both wrong, but I'm glad you have opinions.
So are you saying Maurice Jones-Drew does not belong?
Oh,
on the
no,
right?
don't get me wrong.
So
Maurice
we're not
Jones-Drew is one of
wrong
my
then.
favorite Jaguars of all time. No, you're wrong in the fact when you said that Maurice Jones-Drew is the only Jaguar that deserves to be. I love Maurice Jones-Drew. Him and Fred Taylor are like neck and neck for me, favorite Jaguars. But Maurice deserves it because I appreciate my players that we draft, unlike you scallywags who want to just not re-sign anyone that we
I
draft.
said sign Yannick.
Okay, so that moves us on to people that we didn't draft. I want to get y'all's opinion on this.
Oh,
We brought up Nick Foles,
there's so many.
biggest contract snafu in the history of any
All
sport.
right, I'm gonna stop you
with
right,
a ball.
I'm gonna stop you right there. You're throwing snafu out after 2 games, a serious injury, and getting brought back too early. Really, snafu?
Yes.
Okay.
So the oldest things you just named, he got paid $25 million to do.
And how's that his fault that we can't block for him and he gets crushed?
Maybe do some push-ups and you won't get hurt when you
Well,
get tackled. How about that?
Well,
That's
so
a
it's-
little cynical.
It's all his fault because
Yeah.
he didn't do enough push-ups.
All right.
Got it.
What's the future of Nick Foles, Skylar? What in your opinion, what happens with Nick Foles?
He's gonna still get the money that we owe him. He'll live a nice life. He'll be on another team that probably appreciates him more with players that aren't just staring at him for being like paid so much and being in a sling. He'll probably be able to throw again. So that'll be nice for him. He'll be able to work
Yes.
essentially. He'll
Yes,
be able to
he'll
work.
be able to work. He'll be off the workers' comp
Yeah.
next year. Thank
I
God.
mean, he might be one of the most boring quarterbacks, like in the history of quarterbacks. I get that. But
Unless you're a Philly fan.
unless you're a Philly fan,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
2 statues in Philly. We've talked about this
Yeah.
before. We'll throw this to Skylar. What are the 2 statues in Philly,
Was-
athlete-wise?
Well, Nick Foles, right? And then Rocky Balboa.
Nice, dude. I love this guy. Nailed it. So I think we've given Foles a hard rap. I mean, he hasn't given a chance to prove himself. He still is a Super Bowl MVP. I think he's going to be the highest paid backup in the league next year.
Yeah,
6 or 7
I hope so.
for 6 or 7 games, and then we're going to get some serious trade value for him when a contender's starting quarterback goes down because the rest of the league appreciates Nick Foles and what he can do.
He's going to have to go somewhere with an offensive line, though.
No, he will. That's what I'm saying. It'll be a contender, so they'll have an offensive line. They'll have weapons. They'll have a tight end that he can go to.
Well, if you look at Kansas City, they were contenders, but their offensive line, I wouldn't say was the best. So, and Mahomes went down. So, in a situation with Foles coming in at backup, his old town, Kansas City again,
Well, let's say Dak Prescott goes down halfway through the season. You can't tell me Dallas wouldn't go after Foles.
I could see that.
I mean, there's plenty of teams like that where he fits the mold. I think he will turn out to be a good value for us. We're going to get something for him. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it was just a bad situation of him coming here. I mean, there were obviously things that needed to happen before he could be successful here, and we just weren't willing to make that happen. I mean, we weren't even willing to protect anyone prior, so why would we try to protect our new quarterbacks?
Yeah, we definitely should have gone for Tyrod Taylor.
Or Ryan Tannehill. Tyrod Taylor would have been a good choice. Ryan Tannehill would have been a great second choice, I got to say, as I've said for years, right before we signed him. We got to take one more quick break. I do want to do one little quick segment, though, after the break. I want to talk about the offensive line, and I do want to just kind of get a quick hit from Skylar on that. So we're going to take one little quick break. We're going to come back, quick segment on that. So sit tight, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back to another Jags podcast, segment 3 of episode 106. If you've made it this far, props to you. You've made it to segment 3.
2.5 hours in?
Yeah, only our serious fans hit segment 3, but that's okay because that's when things go off the rails.
That's when things
And that's what we appreciate about this. We got Skylar here with us tonight. Skylar's from Trust the Process podcast, also a great golfer. And we got it's segment 3. Literally everything's available.
Before we get into anything football-wise, since he is a great golfer.
That's actually what I was going to go
and
with.
I'm absolutely getting crushed in my pick'em league at work. Who do you have for the players?
For the players, well,
because I already picked for this coming weekend.
Well,
so.
you know what's funny is we had an event last year at Ponte Vedra Inn and Club for Optum Health, and that was the first time Rory McIlroy got to use our TrackMan. And
he won it.
Exactly. That's how great our technology is. So, obviously he's going to be a favorite with the conditions coming up in March. It's going to be the grass is softer, so it favors the longer hitters much more. That's why Webb Simpson, he won it in May when the conditions were faster and harder. He prefers that. He's not as long as a hitter, but anyone that hits the ball long.
Like, would you be safe with John Rahm? Like, if I have him
Rahm's
as a pick.
a good choice.
Okay.
He was in contention last year. He made a boneheaded decision on 13.
Well, he does that all the time. Is the problem?
Yeah, but his caddy literally said, "I don't know, man." But I think that's an error in his caddy saying too. Like, his caddy should have been more determined to stop him. No one was going to make that shot. No one. I don't think Tiger Woods could have pulled that shot off in his prime either, because the wind was going 12 miles per hour west or whichever direction opposite. But
so if you had $1 million,
who
are you picking to win?
I would go Rahm. I feel comfortable with Rahm.
All right, that's what I was thinking. So
I think he just got married too this past week, so he's happy.
He's had a good start to the season.
He's very happy. One thing is we have Russell Knox come train at Coastal.
JU boy.
Yeah,
Via Sweden.
Scotland.
Oh, is it Scotland?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
He burned me the past like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
He's
funny. He's working with Justin James, and Justin James is number 4 world long driver, and Justin was monitoring his play down at PGA National. Russell's known for putting and such. He was 90th in putting this week, but 7th in driving distance.
Wow.
So Justin's doing his job. Russell, I guess everyone's having trouble putting that at PGA National this past week. So,
All right, so I'll go Rahm Knox again if I can.
I go long hitters for sure. Anyone long.
Interesting story, Skylar. Last year on this podcast, I picked the Masters and the Players winner correctly. Is it true, Joey?
Which at that point, I don't think you had ever even like hit a golf ball, right?
Hadn't.
Like refused to even like admit golf was a sport.
Yep. And after that, I have refused to pick a winner, and I will
That's
stay
true.
at 100%, and I will continue to stay at 100%. So I look forward to the Players. It should be good. I'm not going to pick a winner because I'm at 100% right now.
I wouldn't
I
either.
picked Rory.
He did,
and he won.
Nice.
And
I always root for Jim Furyk.
okay.
Another home talent. Yeah.
Furyk's awesome.
okay.
I saw him just on A1A right up here by the target. Not today, but one time.
Great dude.
We have a third guy that started the podcast with us and is kind of in and out a little bit. Huge golf fan. I can only imagine if he were sitting here with you guys, it would be the most boring golf talk of all time.
Well, he would have asked for like 97 free passes at this point. Because that's the only way he plays golf is isn't free. So, you know.
That is true. That is true right there. All right, with that, let's move into the O-line. I want to talk a little O-line because Skylar brought up O-line earlier. I'm a big O-line guy. I love the trenches, both sides of the ball. You mentioned we need to upgrade at the offensive line. I'm just going to jump to it. Can Cam Robinson be left tackle next season?
I think he's athletic enough. I think he just has to get his head right. I don't know what he's thinking. There's those videos last year when he was recovering from the injury and he was dancing on the chair. Like,
who doesn't dance on the chair in the locker room?
Yeah,
You know?
I mean it's good to have fun, but also there's a lot expected of him at this point. At that point in time, he was not playing because of his injury,
Right,
and then
right.
he immediately was
Dancing on a chair.
Well, he was immediately upgraded to healthy after that video got uploaded. So, I mean, he's just got to stay focused on what he needs to do.
I think he had a great rookie year, and he came off an ACL, then hurt his right knee. Maybe that was due to the dancing on the chair. I don't know. But, I mean, it typically takes a full year for anybody to come back fully.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the telltale year for him. And I think he can. Whether he will or not, I don't know.
I thought it was interesting that Marone and Caldwell at the Combine both talked about how they're very comfortable with the offensive line. They're happy with the offensive line. Then I stopped and thought for a second and said, one damn thing they've said ever has not come true.
Yeah.
And has not been true. So then I thought to myself, maybe they're not happy with the O-line.
Smokescreen.
Yeah, maybe that they hate the O-line is actually my thought because everything they say is the opposite. We're going to work to sign Jalen Ramsey. We're going to do anything we can to sign Ngakoue. All things the Jaguars said. We'd love to keep Fowler. All things the Jaguars said. Like, it's just because they say it doesn't mean it's going to happen, which is ludicrous. But they said they like the O-line. I'm okay with giving Cam Robinson another year. I'm okay with giving Norwell another year. I think you kind of have to, given his contract. I think Linder can give you a couple years left. Who knows, the right guard position. I've never seen a platoon at an offensive lineman spot throughout
Stupidest
the
thing
entire
ever.
season ever in my entire life. And Juwan, the only player I feel good about on this offensive line is Juwan Taylor.
And they better pay him year 4.
And honestly, he's a dude that fell to the second. Every team was like, nah,
Yeah,
he's
said
not.
he had like noodle arms.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember how many people wanted Juwan Taylor in the first round last year?
Yeah.
And he ended up being the second round pick. You never know the offensive line. This offensive line is either really good or really bad. And I know, like, they're not in the middle. They're not in the middle. So
I think tight end maybe can alleviate some of that too for like the run blocking aspect, and then some of the pressure's taken off of them because they can't. I don't know. There's like you said, they're either really good or really bad, and you know if they have someone there to kind of help alleviate some of the pressure, that new kind of to back them up, I think that would help them out a lot too. So.
Or here's a novel idea. Go pay Tommy Bowe $500,000 a year and bring him back as a fullback to block like old school. I mean,
Tommy Bo's in Cancun sipping on margaritas right now.
just like he should be. I think they are dead serious about being okay with their offensive line because they're not going to get any better at those positions.
You could draft a guy.
For less money. Yeah, they're probably going to draft a guy. Second, third, fourth round.
Is he going to start?
No. It'll be a guy they're going to develop. I mean, seriously, you got Cam, who could be awesome next year. Norwell is what he is. The cap space, I mean, if you cut him, you save like $3 million. They're not going to do that. And he's going to be consistent and solid. Linder is kind of like the pause at this point of the team. Like, he's the dude. Gets everybody in line. Avery, I don't know. Might be gone.
Are you talking about Can?
Can, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
And look, if you're projecting to 2021 and you're looking at these offensive line and you're saying who on this line will be there in 2021, there's one name, Juwan Taylor.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's a scary.
So isn't
pace
it
to
better to keep the line together next year for like cohesion than it is to like just kind of mix it up again?
Yeah, I mean, cohesion is definitely how you develop the chemistry, obviously, with the line, and I think that does go a long way. And you will lose the chemistry that you need to, they communicate with each other very well when you're playing together more. Because obviously, that's the more you're around, the more you communicate better. And they just, I don't know what happened with last year. They did have a really good 2017 year for the most part, and then, like I said, with the injury to Cam, that did set them back a little bit. But it will be interesting to watch. I think that will be one of the most watched spots. I mean, obviously, besides defensive end, depending on what happens there, like we're gonna find that out during the draft though and such with that. But the offensive line, I don't know if we will make any adjustments because I don't know, like they said, they seem comfortable, but it's hard to know if they are comfortable. There's, like Joey said too, there's guys we can develop, and then that may be someone who we have in 2021 to lean on and such. So
I also think about the fact, I mean, how much can we blame on the line itself? I mean, we had, second-year receivers and a rookie receiver, a rookie quarterback, and
we had a Pro Bowl receiver. And we had
who was a second-year receiver still, man. And we had an offensive coordinator that likes to run draws and dump it off to Fournette 80 times for 4 yards.
Are you trying to talk bad about my dog, D. Filippo?
I like D. Filippo,
I'm
but
just
he did
kidding,
nothing last year. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, the team.
that Indy game was just awful play calling, and the first Indy game.
yeah.
How about what was? Yeah, don't get me started. No, honestly, I'm glad that. Look,
Honestly,
is this a lame duck year?
it is.
This is a lame duck
I've said
year.
that for 8
Look,
podcasts now.
Are we sitting on 20? Is 2021 going to be a new coach,
It's
new
a lame
GM?
duck team.
It's tank,
Yeah,
it's
really
tank
is
for Trevor.
It really is. Look, I think in 2021 you have a new coach, you have a new GM,
New
you have a
city.
new
I don't think we have a new GM.
new continent. We're on a new continent by then, but I don't know.
If coronavirus doesn't knock us out by then.
Look, we did make
point.
we made a commitment to being positive. Everyone is going negative on the Jags.
Virus positive.
Every testing positive. We committed here at another Jags podcast to look at the positives. That's what we're doing.
We are. And
look, you can go anywhere and get negatives. We're trying to stay positive.
So
here.
the positive here is get coronavirus before everything goes to hell.
And then every team takes a year off. CBA, coronavirus. We get to reset the market.
shit, I
Who
might
knows
be
what
kicking
happens
next
there.
year if I don't get it. I mean,
I might try it outside.
I think the
linebacker.
positive is like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of something that's exciting about next year.
The positive is that
Gardner
Jay
Minshew.
Minshew, Jay Gruden could be our head
Gruden,
coach
Minshew,
by week
just
6.
Sling it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we're going to try that. We really are going to try our best to say the positives all off season. We look forward to it.
I mean, the draft's always positive. We got tons of picks.
Yeah.
That's something to look forward to.
and again, we'll do our usual third segment pump of our live show at Engine 15. We're going to be doing this year.
It's gonna be fantastic. once
So,
again.
Skylar, make sure to come through. It should
Yeah,
be a good
you'll
time.
have
We
to be
do a
there.
live show. I mean,
Where's Engine
it's a
15
party.
again?
It's right.
It is literally like within
Yeah.
walking distance of your employment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
It's
if you
real
take
close.
a left and walk towards Takaloo, you can't miss it.
Yeah, it's by
Okay.
Taco. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I know exactly where it is now.
great
Yeah, it's by
place.
Mojo's.
Great place. If you're in Jacksonville, make sure to check it out. We're going to have a microphone open up to the fans so that you can get your comments on each pick. It was a lot of fun last year. We're definitely doing it again this year. Thank you guys so much for listening. It's been a great time. Skylar, tell everyone one more time. This is third segment listeners, so they're devoted. Tell them one more time where they can find you guys.
Well, thank you for coming on this journey. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for social media at Trust the Process. I think Instagram's just TTP RCR, and that's short for River City Rogue, because we do post articles sometimes to River City Rogue, our site. If you're wanting to give us a listen, you go to iTunes and search us there, SoundCloud, and pretty much wherever you can listen to podcasts, we try to be there. So
that's awesome, man. And we appreciate you being on. Standing invite. Honestly, I need some golf tips, man. I just figured out I'm gonna get my grip right.
Well, let me know when you want to have a golf themed episode.
You know, that might be an episode we call up James.
You have to bring James back.
And I would
that.
just, I'd let y'all talk. I would just, I'd be the peanut gallery. I'd be yelling in from the hall, and you wouldn't have to worry about me at all. But that is something we should could look forward to.
Pre-Masters, maybe.
Yeah, maybe after the players, maybe talk a little bit of something like that.
I'm always usually pre.
I like it. That could go a lot of different directions. I think we know where that was going, but that's all right. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Skylar, for being here. That was awesome. Joey, as always, we're here every week. It's been awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, go Jags.
Go Jags.